Beside you there's an
Yep.
agenda. You know, there.
We'll let them get seated before we get started. Good evening, thanks for being here. Okay, it's 5 o'clock and I'm calling our council meeting to order. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Erin, would you, Laura, will you please take the roll? Oh, no. She's gonna take the roll.
I'll
Okay.
still do that.
You'll
yeah.
still do that, okay.
Yeah, Councilmember Pointer,
Here.
Councilmember Sherburne,
Here.
Councilmember Hamel,
Here.
Councilmember Gray,
Here.
and Councilmember Dietrich is absent tonight.
Yes, he's under the weather, so we thank him for staying home.
Yeah.
Before we start the meeting tonight, I want to introduce everybody to Doug Herman. He's our new city attorney from Lynch, Dallas, and he'll be joining us for the meeting tonight. So, did I said it correctly?
Yeah, yeah.
I said it backwards. I don't know how many times last week,
A
so,
lot of people say Dallas Lynch.
yeah, but it's Lynch, Dallas.
It is.
Okay, welcome to our meeting. Okay, first I need a motion to approve the agenda. Are there any changes first?
We need to remove Doug Cocker, from the list of appointments. I did that in error. He is not going on to the Forestry Improvement Committee. So 3.5, just remove Doug Cocker.
Any other changes? I'll take a motion with that amendment to approve the agenda.
I'm going to approve the agenda with the exception of 3.5 taking out Doug Hawkins to Forestry Improvement Committee. Thank you. I would second that.
Any other questions or comments? All right, Marianne?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
All right. Next, it's our public input period. Please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record before proceeding with any comments. Individual remarks are limited to 5 minutes, with the overall public input period limited to 30 minutes. Under Iowa Opens Meeting Law, the City Council can take no formal action on comments given during public input period which do not relate to action items on the agenda. And if anybody's here for the special assessments tonight, I just want to let you know that that will be a completely different public hearing, so we can talk about that at that time if you want to, okay? So if anybody has anything else you'd like to come to the council for tonight? Okay, I'm not seeing any. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close the public input period, and we will move on to the consent agenda. Pardon?
For him now or?
No, later.
I make it for making to.
Yes, we have to approve it being paid first. Okay. All right. First item is item 3.1. That's approval of the minutes from the December 8th, 2025 city council meeting. I need a motion to approve resolution 1, approving the bills. I need a motion to acknowledge the receipt of city reports and minutes. And I think those are all on there. Again, I'm not used to seeing all these yet, navigating this. Next item is I need a motion for the approval of the designation of the Manchester Press as our official newspaper and KMCH as the official radio station for the city of Manchester for 2026. And then item 3.5, as we talked about before, the approval of the appointments of Eric Bailey to the Forestry Improvement Committee, Ryan Hauser to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and Autumn Domeyer to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I need a motion to approve resolution 2, amending salaries. I believe we had a police officer who has his next step. Then I also need a motion to approve resolution 3, and that's a preliminary plat for Oakview Estates Phase 2. I need a motion to approve the payment of claims totaling $8,215 to Kirkham Michael for engineering services for our Marion Street Bridge Rehabilitation Project. I need a motion to approve the downtown incentive grant application, and I believe that was for 112 South
It's
Franklin.
the former Hughes building, and West Schulte owns that building now and is going to be repurposing it.
There was some pictures in there for us. Is that the upper level?
And he's going to be doing both the main level and the upper level.
Next, I need a motion to approve the payment of claims totaling $20,973.88 to Fer Graham for engineering services. And I need a motion of payment of claims totaling $12,250 to Burrington Group for engineering services for the Grand Avenue Trail Extension Project. And finally, I need a motion to approve Resolution 4, approving our officer reimbursement agreements. I will take a motion and a second, and we'll open it up for discussion.
We'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. I'll second that.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
Connie, I wanted to go back to the salary resolution.
Absolutely.
There was hiring of 3 individuals on there. One is the new police officer, Ryan Larson, who is here tonight.
Mhm.
Then the library has found a new children's librarian. And then you also see on there hiring Corey Helmrichs for some seasonal snow removal. He is being hired to assist. We're short-staffed right now with Chad Wolfcole recently had surgery and then with some vacations coming up. So he will be used on an on-call basis. So if we need an extra set of hands, that last major snowstorm we even had to have Tim Vick come in and plow. I'm not capable of doing that, so. Well, it would be interesting. So anyway, he will not be used every snow situation. It will just be as needed basis. And then the other 2 were just step increases.
Mhm. Okay, any questions or comments?
Did you mention about, Ryan's thing in here also under salary resolution?
Yes, he's in there too. I did not. Thank you. Okay, hearing no other questions.
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Diane?
Yeah.
And Marion?
Yes.
All right. Next, it is 5:07, and I'm going to open a public hearing on the resolution of necessity for the Anderson Street reconstruction project. And at this time, if there's anybody who wants to speak to the council about that, you're welcome to come forward.
Crystal McMullen, 833 East Butler Street, Manchester. I know this is all a big project. I'm new to Manchester. I didn't know about this, but I know in Ryan, they would do grants to help with those road things and not have to have most of it go on to the property owners. Does Manchester do that, or is it always gonna be that property owner's responsibility?
We apply for grants where they're available. On a street project like this, there's not necessarily grant options available for that. So, we have used special assessments, I think, since 1992 here on street projects. And, again, which I'm sure you've heard before, but this letter that you got with the amount listed is the highest it can be. Once we send out that letter with that dollar amount in there, we cannot exceed that. Typically, our projects come in a decent amount less. Sam, if you can.
Yeah,
talk
so,
about
I mean, the intent is that they come in less. Sometimes, like say that's the max. There's cases where sometimes there's some properties that pay the max, but there's also cases where sometimes you're paying less depending on how the bid items come out. So depending on what the bids come in at. So which we have no control over. The city typically, will award the bid to the lowest contractor, but that lowest contractor may have a higher paving price. Where the highest contractor, it just depends on where they put their dollars and cents into their bid.
And the council did a couple of years ago revise the special assessments to try and lessen the burden on the homeowners because project costs have obviously increased and gotten more expensive. So we went to, I think, 50% on curb and gutter.
Right.
That is charged to the property owners. And then we reduced the amount that we could assess Sam by 25%
Yep,
of the
so,
property value.
correct. Yep, based on for the paving items,
Right.
could not exceed 25% of the land value.
Right.
For that property.
Yeah, so we tried to make strides to lessen the hardship, the burden on you guys.
Yeah.
I know.
Except for the corner people.
Yeah, and assessments are payable over 10 years. So for this project, you got the preliminary letter. The final assessments won't go out until probably October, November, once the project is completed and accepted by the council, which will give you the total amount that is your share of it. You'll have a certain amount of time to pay that in City Hall, any of it, a portion of it, or none of it. And then after that, it will, be assessed to your property taxes to be paid over 10 years. There is no prepayment penalty or anything to, on these assessments. So if you get, a big tax return or you have a little more money you can go in and pay, if you want to pay $500 down or more, you're able to do that. There is nice flexibility with it. Or if you just want to pay it over the 10 years, that's totally fine too. So there are options.
And the amounts that come in less for East Street. I
Yeah.
mean, they come in considerably lower than what we thought, so.
How does that look on our property tax then?
So because I've had a special assessment, you'll get a different, so they come in two different mailings. That's how, I don't know if that happened for you this year.
Yeah, it'll come in a separate line item.
Yeah, it'll come in its own envelope on a different colored sheet of paper and it'll show the assessment amount on there. And then the number of payments you have left on it. So, but the soonest you'll see it would be, September of 27 is when you would get your first bill for it if you decide to have it assessed to the property taxes.
Did that answer all your questions?
Yes,
Crystal?
thank you.
Okay, all right. Okay. Anybody else want to approach the council? Okay, so well,
I just have, Cindy Linus, 837 East Union. I just want to know, like, how necessary it is to rip all the sidewalks out when they're in good shape. I understand that they're not the 5 feet, but like, what is the necessity of that? Because it has nothing to do with the street.
each project's a little bit different, isn't it, for how we do that? Brian, do you want to, or, Sam?
So I think,
Okay,
I believe Brian mentioned years past, there was maybe 1 or 2 projects where they try to go out and grade the sidewalks. But then it's also then it's the judgment call of, okay, why is mine a C instead of an A
Right.
or something of that nature? So then now with all the projects, with every project, council just chosen to let's just go through and reconstruct everything as we go. So there's, so then everything is uniform and can get everything to grade and 5 foot wide and about a scenario.
The other thing with that too, if I remember right, when you get into some of that, especially when you're doing your curb and gutters, some of those setbacks get moved just a slight hair. And anytime they're trying to do work, a lot of times they end up breaking up the sidewalks.
Yeah.
Or underground going underneath of them for city utilities. That always messes them up also.
Yeah, that can definitely be some of it too, depending on how close the sidewalk is in proximity to the curb, or if there's a sewer or water service that's crossing underneath the sidewalk, that's gonna get impacted.
And wasn't part of that also the offset of the street, because we're
Where the,
taking a little bit of that.
where Linus's property is in particular on the north end, yeah, the street alignment, the curb is shifting a little bit, so the alignment of the sidewalk will look a little different than what it is today, and that's along almost pretty much the entire corridor. And kind of the reason that city obtained 2 foot easements is just because to try to get a little more green space between the curb and the sidewalk. So that was the easements and trying to get a little more room for snow storage.
It's only 3 foot as it is.
Of green space between,
Yes.
yeah, so both sides, once the project's all said and done, there will be 3 foot of green space, 4 foot south of Butler, and north of Howard, along the west side of the street where the condos are across from Baum Park. From
That's
Butler
us.
Street to Howard, the sidewalk will be moved to back a curb.
So when the snowplows come through, you wanna shovel my walk? Cause we're gonna lose already. I mean.
yeah. Joanne, can you give them your name and address, please? We have to during the public comment. Sorry.
Joan Wilson, 316 Anderson.
You can go ahead and you can continue with your comment. Go ahead.
When the snow is shoved up already, there's no place to go. We have to take care of that. And now we're gonna lose more space in the front, which we don't have anyway.
Yeah, so that an area that particular through there, if we move the sidewalk further from curb, then there's not as much distance between sidewalk and your garage door as is. So if there's somebody parked in the driveway, they might hang over the sidewalk. So that was the main reason that why we brought the sidewalk in to be at back curb instead of trying to push it further from the curb. Cause yeah, now there is a very narrow strip there and that's gonna pretty much go away and the sidewalk will be at back curb through that stretch.
So we're gonna have traffic in my front window. Is that the deal?
I guess
We're
what-
gonna be moving things?
the sidewalk will get further from your dwelling. If that's what you're asking, from your actual house, where your property, where your house is, your condo.
Yeah, but it's
Si-
gonna have to come towards the house because it's only 3 foot from the curb to the sidewalk.
Right, so there's gonna be no green space between curb and sidewalk, so that sidewalk will actually get closer to the street, because the back of the curb was almost gonna stay in the same location of the new street versus the existing. So the sidewalk will get a little bit closer to the curb. So there'll be 2 or 3 foot, I believe, between the right of way line and the back of the new sidewalk.
But it kind of tickles me about this sidewalk business because nobody walks on the sidewalk. They all walk in the street.
Not supposed to.
Seriously.
I know, they're not supposed to be.
I know, but
I
in
know,
my end of town, you tell them.
I know,
I dare you.
I know.
And they don't move for cars.
No, they don't move for cars.
They
I know.
don't.
I know.
Our street is 50 miles an hour.
What is the rule for people just walking in the middle of the street?
To do it,
Well,
Okay.
no, they're not.
it'd be a city citation.
Okay,
Okay, I've asked. When my friend was on the police department, I said, I'll let you park in my driveway.
Well, we get enough complaints too from enforcing parking ordinance, and I mean, I get what you're saying, but I'm also not gonna tell all officers to go out and issue a citation for every single person.
Well,
walking
no,
on the street
but
During every hour, but that's how it has to work. We issue one during any certain time of day, we have to issue everybody to be fair. We can't pick and choose what laws to enforce. If we're gonna enforce one, we have to enforce it for everybody. And I mean, if we wanna, if that's my ordinance that's, I'm told to enforce by the council, I will. I would just recommend the fact that we get enough complaints about the parking stuff. If you wanna feel meeting for citations for walking on the street, especially in times of low traffic, we're gonna issue everybody on every street. I just want.
our street never has low traffic. It's just
I
like the
understand, but
highway.
I'm just letting you know I have to be fair. If I'm telling
I know,
officers to
I
do
know.
something, it can't just be, we can't just enforce one street.
I know.
We'll have to enforce that on every single street in town if we're gonna do it.
I don't know how you're gonna slow these people down.
Well, we
Because
can work.
somebody's gonna die.
we can
That's all
work
there is.
with
to
social
it.
media. We have a trailer that we can put out in the summers. We can't do it in the winter because of the plows and things
Yeah.
like that. You know, it'll interfere with the radar, but, you know, we can look at some special enforcements. And especially in the summer, we can put some trailers out, speed trailer that monitors the traffic and what.
She's got kids that she takes care of all the time. We've got kids all over the place. And somebody is gonna get hurt.
Well, we're talking about two different issues though.
yeah,
right?
but, yeah, we're, yeah.
I
this-
know, I know,
Yeah.
but I'm,
Come down to my office and talk to me about the traffic issue, but,
Yeah.
as far as the pedestrians go again, unfortunately,
well, that went with the sidewalk issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah. So explain that to me. I'm trying to still do a graphic in my mind. Is it the distance between the sidewalk and the edge of the sidewalk towards the street? That's gonna be less, correct? It's not necessarily gonna be shorter from her house to where the sidewalk starts.
Correct. So right now, there is, I think, 2, maybe 3 foot of grass between curb and sidewalk where the condos are across from Baum Park.
3
Mhm.
foot.
So in that,
Right.
only that stretch, the sidewalk will be butted up, so it's right at back curb.
Okay,
So,
Okay, we'll take that. Won't we? We'll-
I can live with that.
so the sidewalk will be right at back curb where the condos are.
Isn't that how the sidewalk is then on the north end of Anderson? On those properties, it's right along on the curve.
Yes,
So
correct,
that's what would happen, okay.
correct. So everywhere else, there will be at least 4 foot of green space between curb and sidewalk.
Got it. Thank you.
Can I take that?
Well, yeah, I just, if she's done, I just need to come up here and, yeah, okay, thank you, John.
One thing I've noticed in cities, so they go from 4 foot to 5 foot. people don't like to walk on 4-foot sidewalks because there's usually two people walking together and it's hard to walk side by side. 5-foot sidewalks improve that dramatically.
So more of them will use it.
More of them will use it. In my experience, and backup curb sidewalks are terrible, but sometimes you get stuck. Either that or you have them so far up in the yard that cars are parked over them, and that's a problem too. So I understand what the engineer's saying, but 5-foot sidewalks better for handicap accessibility. You don't have to worry about, I think, bump outs that you might with a 4-foot sidewalk. And it does increase the walkability and keeps people off the streets.
Yeah, and to Doug's point too, let's say the one side of the street will be the 8-foot wide trail, where there's not today. And like say, in a perfect world, we like to try to get as much green space as we can between curb and sidewalk, but the corridor of 3 Anderson Street is narrower. You can say, if you look at East Main Street, for example, we're able to get more space between sidewalk and curb, which is ideal, without obtaining easements, because there was more right of way to work with. But thanks, Doug.
Joyce Edmonds, I live on Anderson Street on 409, and I'm right at the curb. Is this, the curb and is it gonna be straight from my house?
The angle will start pretty much on the north side of your driveway. And right now, I believe, if I remember correctly, the transition happens in about 50 foot. We're gonna stretch that out to about 125 feet. So it doesn't seem as abrupt. The jog is not gonna go away. It can't go away just because the right of way shifts. But we're gonna try to stretch it out so it's a little more gradual.
So will it be just on my property, or how far will it go? So where will it start?
It'll start on the north side of your driveway, and then the angle will proceed north to the north side of Union Street.
Up towards the condos and so forth?
Correct. Believe it'll go through so that the driveway to your neighbor to your north, the curb will still be kind of going at an angle. I believe it's somewhere on the north side of their driveway where it'll be back and where that angle will stop.
And then we'll all have the same size sidewalk all the way up there?
Yep, so where your property is, it'll be 5 foot wide, going north will be 5 foot wide, and then also from your property south, it'll be 5 foot wide until you get to Baum Park. And where the trail comes through Baum Park, it'll switch.
And then across the street, they will
Across the street from your place will be 5 foot wide sidewalks. It'll be-
beyond that too?
Yep, so the whole west side of Anderson Street will all be 5 foot wide. There'll be areas of 7 foot wide sidewalks where the condos are, where the mailboxes will be, just to get more room, so there's more clear zone. But otherwise, all the sidewalk along the west side will be 5 foot. That's city standard. Every sidewalk is 5 foot wide unless there's
there'll be sidewalks on both sides of the street?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Anybody else want to have a comment or question?
I'm not sure. This belongs here.
Okay.
And maybe a moot question at this point. I live at 304 Anderson across from Baum Park.
And your name,
And
please? Your name, please?
Pardon me?
Your name, please?
Oh, Joyce Stonemeyer.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I forgot that part.
That's okay.
As it is now, I end up putting my dumpster boxes in my driveway because I have to, as hard as I can, to get them up away from the mailbox, but on the grass. And I'm hoping the sidewalk's not gonna give me another oomph to get over.
So there will be, I believe, a 3-inch drive over curb, so a 3-inch rollover curb. And then in essence, your flat sidewalk, and then your driveway will slope at a straight grade from the back of the sidewalk to where we tie in.
Okay, and what I'm concerned about, and from the way you described it, it sounds like my concern's going to go away. Now I have to push up over a piece of dirt to get my garbage cans off the street and off my driveway.
So you're probably referring to the area where right now in that 2 to 3 foot stretch, there's a lot of the vertical difference, that's probably 6 or 8 inches that you're going up. So it's very steep in that first little
Everybody says I live across from the potty house. So I got back much to get things up.
Yep. So yeah, it'll be a 3-inch rollover curb and then a flat sidewalk, and then your driveway will be a straight grade from the back of walk up to where we tie in, which I think most of the condos up there, we're pretty much removing all the driveways up to about 1 panel from your garage. to try to get the driveway as flat as possible. To try to flatten the slope out as much as we can.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close the public meeting at 5:25. Before the council, then we have resolution 5. If somebody would like to make a motion to approve the resolution of necessity.
I'll make a motion to approve, the resolution of necessities. I believe for the Anderson Street project, correct?
Correct. I would second that.
Is there any other discussion or comments before we take a vote? Hearing none. Bill?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And Mary Ann?
Yes.
Okay, and then we also need a motion to approve resolution 6, ratifying the preparation of detailed plans, specifications, and notice hearing, and notice to bidders and form of contract. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Oh, I thought I heard that Brian, and then
I'll second.
you'll do the second, okay? Any other further questions? Brian?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And Diane?
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have a review of the Bond Park shelter plans. Doug, get to that today?
So it would have been it was months ago that we put the original project for the Baum Park shelter and restroom renovation out to bid. We got one bid at the time and it came in higher than what we were hoping for. And so went back and met with Josh Demmer at Metrics Architecture and tried to figure out a way that we can lower the potential cost of the project. And so he has redesigned, which you guys have. You probably can't tell a whole lot of the differences between the two designs, but essentially what it is the old design was laminated wood for roof decking supported by steel columns. The steel columns would have been a specialty weld job, which kind of eliminates quite a few contractors because they don't have that welding special expertise, or they would have to subcontract that out, which is difficult to find somebody. So the revised design is now conventional wood trusses on wood beams. The underside of the wood truss roof will be finished with tongue and groove shiplap wood boards. And so the revised design should save on costs, material, and install, and wouldn't change a whole lot to the overall appearance of the structure. And then it should also allow for more contractors to bid on it. We had one bid was all. We should hopefully get some more. And then we also shortened it by 4 feet in length, which also would allow for 2 sets of columns instead of 3. So that's 2 less columns and 2 less foundations, essentially footings that would need to be. So what we're looking for here is approval to go out for bid. If approved, we would start that process tomorrow, trying to get in contact. Josh will get in contact with some of the contractors and look for anybody else that's willing to bid on it and look at the project now that it's a little bit more appetizing maybe for some of the contractors. And then we would look at those bids back on February 23rd, which we would then present at the following council meeting.
I like to look at that. I like how.
It doesn't change the appearance a whole lot,
Not
but
a lot.
hopefully it drops, some cost.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the amphitheater a little bit.
Yeah, it does. And with that bid too, we'll have it broken out by restroom renovation and shelter. Yep.
But it's still gonna be roughly 30 by 40, correct?
It'll be 48 feet long.
Oh,
That's just the shelter part.
Yes.
just the shelter's 48?
Yes.
Oh, I see, okay. Yeah, because you got your overhang and then 35
Yep.
each way, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm glad you put it out for bid. I mean, you will be putting it out for bid again. I think that with some changes, like you said, we should come in lower. We need to. And that would be great because I would love to see this project go forward. It just could not go forward at the price that let's be.
No, it was high. Yeah.
And so I think you've done the right things to try to decrease the cost and
Yeah.
see what happens.
You know, with a shelter that hopefully lasts, many decades, we don't want to shortchange the project too much, but yet also want to make sure that it comes in at a good price. And the timing is really nice with the Anderson Street project as well, to have the parking lot and then get sidewalk that leads up to it, handicap accessibility up in there, and then the restrooms would then be ADA accessible as well with the renovation. So the timing works out well. We just had to delay it a little bit. So hopefully they come back in at a desirable cost and we can move forward with it.
So do we need a motion to approve this, to go for the bids or just direction?
I think let's just do a motion to approve going out for bid.
No, you can get it started.
Yeah, we'll get started on it right away tomorrow. And then he said we'll have them back by the 20th. We'll have the deadline the 23rd. That gives us time to answer questions or, any tricky parts that come up in the middle of it before the following council meeting.
So I move for approval of going out for bids.
Yes.
And we'll see what happens. We'll see what's.
And I will second that.
Any further comments and discussion by the council? Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Marianne,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Brian,
Yeah.
and Bill.
Yes.
Okay.
If we could interrupt and get Ryan sworn in.
Yeah, we approved his, name, didn't we? I skipped right over that. I'm so good. Sorry. Let's get Ryan. And then you got here in time so you can give us, this is your wife, yes?
Yes.
And what's her name?
Alexis.
Alexis. It's very nice to meet you. Okay, all right. Ready, come on up here. We have to take pictures.
I got you.
Okay, perfect. All right. This is gonna be really good. Okay, let's raise your right hand. I, Ryan Larson,
I, Ryan Larson.
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States.
and that of the state of Iowa,
And that of the state of Iowa.
and that I, to the best of my knowledge and ability,
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
I will perform all the duties of police officer
I will perform all the duties of police officer
of the said city of Manchester, Iowa.
in the said city of Manchester, Iowa.
Oh. This is a big time.
Thank you, Jeff.
Wait till the mayor's. Hey.
Almost need to state the whole group.
That's right.
That's right. All right.
Right? Perfect, you got you.
All right. Thank you.
Congratulations, Ben.
Ben, you want a picture with him?
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
Can you grab it?
Yeah.
Doug,
Hey, I'll or I'll send it to you.
You.
Ben, if you can get those to me.
Well, that.
If you can get the pictures to me.
Perfect.
Thank
Sorry
you
to-
so very
sorry
much.
to hijack the photography.
Thanks.
Okay. Our next item, we have a request from Wayne Miranda at 245 Park Drive for a controlled burn request. And I am going to just let you come on up here and talk to us and tell everybody about what you're up to. Or what your request is.
Wayne Miranda, 245 Park Drive. Well, what we've been kind of trying to do is clean up the woods a little bit, and my kids have been down in there. We've been kind of piling it all up, and we would like to try to be able to burn that. And before Tim was gone, we had gone over it. It's 1,000 feet from, I guess, Tanglewood and the hospital area, so it should be pretty well contained. So there's a lot of invasive species down there for trees and stuff, and just dead stuff that hasn't been cleaned out. So, that's what we're trying to do. Try to get it cleaned up a little bit now, so. I'd rather do it now, kind of during the wet season, I guess, versus dries out. So I doubt we'll be able to get it all done with one burn, so right, come back and I'd like to get a track skid loader down in there and kind of really go around and get everything cleaned up really good, which is what my goal is, but we've been kind of chipping away ever since we've been there, and I didn't even realize when we moved in there that I had to have permission to burn in the city, so I was burning up on top, and here comes JJ Davis, and he's like, you know, you gotta have permission to burn up there? I was like, I did not know that. So, but yeah, it was kind of, I had a pretty big fire up there when we first moved in, but we learned our lesson there, and then we.
A little different than being on the farm.
Yeah, but we had to rent a chipper, and, which I like using chips, because then we reuse them around the yard and stuff like that for different stuff and whatnot, so. We got a lot of stuff that not quite sure where to go with it all yet. I've been hauling load after load after load to the brush dump, and we'll just have to keep going that route. But, yeah, I don't know, is there an ordinance in Manchester that is for wood burning stoves or anything like that?
No.
Like for in your house?
Yeah, 'cause,
No, you maybe want to visit with Tim Hines, but Doug, I wouldn't think there'd be anything on wood burning stoves.
I don't know if they can do an external, or you know where they call them, the external stoves. I don't know, we have a books though for that.
I'm not seeing anything at first glance.
But I don't know if we have.
There used to be an outside furnace up on Butler Street,
Yeah.
right, like 300 Butler Street.
I don't know if anybody.
I don't know if it's still there. They used to have one that kind of smoked up the neighborhood.
yeah. Yeah, I would,
I had a Franklin stove in my house at the pumpkin farm. It's more of an insurance issue than anything else. If you have a stove, a wood burning stove, it affects your insurance rates, and you have to do it. You would certainly want to do it professionally and make sure it's safe.
yeah, that's actually, so we have a fireplace in our house right now, and we are having a little bit of country stoves come from Strawberry Point, and they're putting in an insert for us here. It's supposed to have been done last week already, but with the new shop I'm putting up there, I want to put in a nice big wood burning stove, so that way we can use some of that wood instead of just watching it rot or just burn it up, I guess, so.
We'll have to have.
I'm not, yeah, I'm in your city code. Some cities do in fact pass ordinances that restrict the outside wood burners, especially in residential areas. I'm not seeing anything that jumps out at me that is prohibited in town, but it's, oftentimes one of those things the cities think about once one or two happen and neighbors are complaining about the smoke pouring in their windows. So.
And Tim Hines would also know, so if you wanted to reach out to him.
Okay.
The
But
only thing that I would want to say about this, because I know we had a controlled burn, was it south of town that we did a couple years ago? And it was, we wanted to make sure about which way the wind was blowing.
We didn't let them do it.
One of them we did, didn't we?
did,
One of them we did. And one of them we didn't. One we did and one we did, because I think we thought it was.
My only big thing with this is the hospital is right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can turn around and say, okay, well, we'll do it on a day of south wind. Well, that's great, but as the fire chief is here and I've been on the fire department, it only takes one time and 15 minutes later, that wind's going the other direction.
Exactly.
And I agree about trying to do it when it's wet, but I really worry about, like, the hospital has those monster air intakes. So they're gonna suck.
When it's
Fresh
out
air
there.
like crazy, because they do a return rate. I don't know what's here from the hospital. They do a return every 15 minutes. They're flipping the air in the hospital.
Wow.
Some of the maintenance guys I know up there, and I think that's the way we've had some issues with that up there before, but I know that's the biggest thing, 1,000 feet or a quarter of a mile. They'll get smoke inside of that, which can really bother a lot of people with respiratory, hence Aaron, so. Sorry. That's what I really worry about. I'm not against the burning part of it so much. It's being You live close to the hospital,
Right,
you know?
Yeah.
And I don't want you mad at us, but I'm really worried. I guess in this situation, I'd really want to talk to the hospital.
Mhm.
I know the fire chief's over there and I don't know what he's got to say, but I think should be checked with the hospital first because their intakes are huge on top of that.
And I know you have to come to the council for this, but do they also have to come to the fire department too, before we do a control burn? I wasn't sure what the process is, for sure.
We don't necessarily have to, but it's at least advised, but at least let us know
Mhm.
and to let dispatch know. Because if you don't let dispatch, if you are allowed to burn and you don't let dispatch know and somebody calls in an uncontrolled burn, we're gonna put it out.
Right, yeah.
And we're gonna put it out in a way that you're not gonna be able to burn. Yeah.
Right. And if the hospital calls and says, man, this is really bothering us. It's like Randy said, we're gonna put it out and it won't start again.
That's okay. And it's where it's at, it's right next to the wet land, like, so there's, I don't know if it was a pond or what it was.
Down below, way
Yeah,
down. back below.
it's way down below the hill, which I know I'm kind of familiar with, like, the, drafts, they say like at night towards the evening, maybe would be better because at night when the temperature drops, the wind actually goes down.
The smoke goes up. Smoke has always gone up.
I mean, like for drafts though, like, because it's for deer, if you're going hunting, you don't want to be, you'd rather be up high before the wind will go down. So, but yeah, if it actually doesn't need to be burned, it's not hurting anything down there, so it is what it is. I just thought if we want to try to clean this wetland up a little bit and restore it. And I know right next door is out of city limits, so I said, if I just throw it over the fence there to Tim, he's like, yeah, you could do that. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that. I want to come here and, do it the right way. So,
Yeah, and yeah, we
Appreciate
appreciate
that.
that. It's being a good neighbor in a sense, it's just that case of, I just worry about the hospital being that
That
close
close.
with their air intakes and
I
all that
didn't know
smoke's
about
gotta
air
get up and then right across and then they suck it in and then we're hearing it, you're hearing it, and it's like, oh.
Is that a conversation Wayne can have with the hospital to see if they were on board?
I think it would probably wanna come down to somebody from the city asking, I'm
Okay.
not that.
Or
He couldn't
somebody,
go
but
over-
that there's a conversation to rule this out.
As we look at Aaron.
Well, no, I have a better idea, Randy.
What?
I think it's the perfect place for you to go to the hospital with Wayne and talk to them, because you have a better concept than Aaron does, sorry, Aaron, about what fire's gonna do
That's a
and
good
what,
point.
and what everything else is gonna happen.
Yeah.
So if you could deal with it, maybe find out from the hospital, but go with Wayne so that he can explain to them
Okay.
what's going on. Would you be willing to do that for us?
I just like that, we know that that's an answer, we've investigated.
Yes,
and
I always like to have the person who knows.
No, and that makes-
ask the
that makes
questions,
sense.
So.
Also,
we
you
can
have,
get together with the meeting here.
and a diagram somehow that shows a map of where you are and where you're playing. Oh, that wasn't on mine when I
Yeah.
first looked at it. Oh,
I think he can pull up a map on his own and kind of.
Yeah.
know what's
Yeah.
going on.
Take a peek and map and.
And then he's probably able to zero in a little bit better as to what the distance is, but I agree, when it's.
we just did, when I came into the office and talked with Tim, we brought up Beacon,
Yep.
and then we did the
I think he's capable of doing that too.
Randy.
Randy.
You think Randy can do that?
Ready.
You bring up a beacon map, Randy.
Yeah, I can do that.
Nice table.
Okay.
That one's.
Yeah, you want to table it?
No, you guys are
I would
doing.
think I'll wait and get back to us and let us know.
Really nice.
Is that all right, Randy?
Yeah.
We're gonna table it for now until you get back to us, if you can get to the hospital and. Okay, don't things. And like I said, I'm not against burning, I know what it's like to burn brush and get it done, I just worry about the inlets.
And,
So, and they.
we could, you could throw it over the fence and burn it outside the city limits. But the reality is it's so close, it's not gonna make any difference from where the smoke goes.
Right,
So,
right.
I would try to get a hold of somebody, at least somebody in maintenance that knows about those Somebody higher up, Aaron Budikoff or, yeah, Aaron.
I think so.
Well,
Kramer.
Didn't Kramer would get the right person.
She could at least aim you the right direction.
it's amazing what a wood chipper can do, so.
Oh, agreed.
I thought it was gonna take forever to get through this big pile and it was like, gone in no time, so. Wouldn't hurt a thing to just have to chip it up either, so.
Thanks, Wayne.
All right, thank you, Wayne,
So you have a motion from Brian.
to table it.
I would second that.
Okay,
Do we have a second? First?
yeah, she does, yep.
Okay.
So Brian,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
and Bill.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Wayne, and thank you, Randy. All right, next, I need a motion to approve resolution 7, and that's approving the contract for services with East Central Intergovernmental Association. You want to speak to this?
So this is for that rural innovations housing grant that we just received. And originally we were gonna try, and do the grant administration in-house. That was when Tim was still here. Now with him leaving, because it is a state grant and there are several different hits that need to be dropped, kind of jump through, we need to make sure we're submitting reports. We'd like to proceed with utilizing NCIA to administer it and make sure we're staying on task.
Can I hear a motion?
Yeah, I will make a motion to approve resolution 007,
Mhm.
contract with ECIA.
I will second.
Any further discussion or questions? Bill?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Diane?
Yeah.
And Brian?
Yes.
And then next, I need a motion to award the following contracts to Mark Fink for the city sidewalk and snow removal with a bid of $395 per time, and nuisance sidewalk snow removal with a bid of $50 per sidewalk.
Yes, I'll make a motion on that one also, Mayor. I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Bill?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Diane?
Yeah.
And Mary Ann?
Yes.
Okay. Next. Have a motion to, or we're just
No,
gonna
no,
talk
we're
about
just
this,
gonna
we're gonna
talk about
talk about the bond issue.
Yeah, so I put at the table a little sheet that talks about Anderson Street project, phase 1 and phase 2. The estimated cost for phase 1, this includes engineering, contingency, is about just under 1.9 million, and then phase 2 is about 1.4 million, so 3.25 million. The funding sources that we had put in the capital improvement plan for this were local option sales tax, some water, sewer, and street improvement funds, and then we were gonna borrow for it for the remainder. What I am proposing to do is we borrow for phase 1 and 2, since we're gonna be doing them concurrently. It saves us on having to do bond issuance costs, legal fees, to just do them together. We have 24 months to utilize the funds once we borrow them, so that with phase 2 going right away in 27, we would have ample time to get those spent out. The reason I'm bringing it to you now is because we're at the point in time with budgets where we either have to do a pre-levy resolution or we can go ahead and issue the funds. Pre-levy would just be another step, so it'd be another set of legal fees, publication costs, in something that we already know that we're gonna go ahead and do because we need the money to do the project. So my proposal would be that we go ahead and start the issuance proceedings, which would be starting at the next meeting. And then get going on borrowing the money so that we get that in so we can budget for. This would be a 10-year payoff. We'll budget in this upcoming budget $200,000 to pay down right away. In running our preliminary numbers on our levy rate, it does not, because we had paid off some debt in last year and the year before and this year, it won't increase our levy rate. So we are fine that way, where it's not gonna cause things to jump up, but that would be my proposal, is that if you're okay with it, I will have Dorsey when he starts crafting the proceedings to take initial action at our January 26th meeting.
So I'll save us on paying those costs twice, we just do it once.
Right, and just to give you an idea on the most recent bond issue, we did the 2025 one, the bonding fees were $20,000, and there's fees to Spear Financial, we have publication costs and all of that. When I talked with Maggie about a $2 million issue, she said rates are right in that 4% range right now. Could come in a little bit less, so they're starting to drop again. Issuers like 10-year payoffs because that's aggressive.
Right.
It would be one that would probably be, they would put it out to the bond market, but a lot of times you see like that. UMB Bank partnering with F&M Bank or they partner with Community Savings, and so there would be local participation, but 2 million is probably a little bit more than the local banks can just handle on their own. So I'm just looking for, if you're okay, I will have proceedings at the next meeting for you.
Well, we can say $20,000 for not having to redo it again. And I thought we did this also with the East Main project, didn't we? Didn't we do both of them at the same time?
I think we might have.
I think we did, because there again, we were trying to save money on all the legal fees and the rebonding and stuff, so.
And we are.
I'm good with it.
Okay, we're early in on the costs, usually we're pretty conservative on what we're figuring, we're high usually on what we're figuring it's gonna cost. So Maggie was gonna put in their language about, for the public hearing about bridge improvements, so that this money could then, if we come out with extra bond issue money, we can redirect it to the West Marion Street Bridge, which is another project we know we have coming down the pike in a few years. So, just to allow us that flexibility. And the 2 million is kind of one of those not to exceed numbers.
Right.
But that's a proposal.
So what's the council's?
I think we have to do it. We have to get started on this. It only makes sense to do it once instead of twice.
I'm in agreement. I mean, we talked earlier today, so.
And if we think we're gonna get relatively decent defense, I'd rather do it than wait and see in 2 years what it's gonna be, or another year what it's gonna be. So I would suggest moving on.
Brian, how do you feel?
I agree.
Okay. All right, does that give you direction there?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Next, we get to update us on some nuisance properties, or things.
There's a written report in there from Tim Hines.
Okay, I saw that. Okay, I didn't know if you had.
Yeah, we haven't actively worked on any yet for the
Okay,
city.
okay, I knew that they got transferred over.
Yep. So, I don't know that I've seen any files yet,
Okay,
so we'll communicate, be sure to get those where they need to go.
sounds like, anybody have any questions on the ones that, Hines report? All right. Sam, do you want anything else tonight? Oh, did I miss somebody?
Just the budget.
Oh, the budget schedule, sorry, I'm trying to move on.
Slow.
Okay, yeah. I
Good,
tell you,
now you're able.
I am struggling with this new program, I do not.
At the table is the schedule for you. Basically, all of your Mondays until,
Christmas?
first part of March.
Yeah,
We'll be here. Next Monday we'll meet, we'll just kind of go over some preliminary things, talk capital improvements. Then we'll have department heads at, the February 2nd and February 16th meetings, go over their requests with you. Further in depth on their capital improvements. Everything pretty much has to be buttoned up by March 5th and over to the auditor, so. We did see our valuations, we got an increase, but because of the increase, we got ratcheted back to how much of that we could get. We're fortunate though, we are going to see an increase of about $100,000 for our general fund. Large chunk of that will be raises to employees, but there will be, a little bit of money there.
okay.
So we'll get into that next week.
All right, so just add those to your calendar. All right. Sam,
So, have a bit of a list. Anderson Street. So yeah, project bid letting will be Thursday, January 29th at 10 a.m. It'll be virtual. If anybody wants to sit in on that, there's a Zoom link to the contract documents. Or say if you want to just let me know and I can copy it out of there and email it to you so you can just click and punch in the ID. Medicom indicated they have one aerial span left to remove out there, and then their removal and all their work will be done. Windstream, got an email from them last week. Contractor was going to be wrapping things up last week, and they were planning to splice in their new fiber this week, weather permitting, so they should be working on that this week, so then they just gotta do it, get the removals done of their aerial, and then line come in and remove poles, so. At least they're making progress, it's not as quick as what we like, but as long as the poles and everything can be removed before city's contractor begins work, so. At least the line should be in there hopefully by the end of January, first part of February to get poles removed. So they've been in contact with the line as well, kind of giving them updates, saying where the other utilities are at. And then a few items to note. Aaron passed along a lease agreement for the William Street Water Tower to Ryan, with looking at, I think, the radio stuff with T-Mobile. So Ryan's gonna take a look at that stuff, but for committee of the whole next week, and like I we'll follow up with Aaron. Had a brief discussion with her last week, but for committee of the whole in February, we would like to talk about Anderson Street Phase 2. So I mean that's kind of touched on that a little bit when we talked about like Phase 1, but kind of have a little bit more in-depth discussion on that, and then prepare a proposal and agreement for probably a meeting in maybe February or March, so we can get that work started. So again, we can kind of get letters out to utilities, let them start working, and then have a bid letting in January of next year. And then also begin discussions on downtown Phase 1. So that'll be kind of conjunction with the Marion Street Bridge. So kind of start discussions. We understand we might need to have a few more kind of meetings with council on that one because it's a big undertaking. We've kind of shared the 5-year, I think it's 4 or 5 phases with staff when we've had meetings over the last year. So we're trying to get things kind of dialed in, but there'll be some stuff to kind of figure out. So I want to kind of get those meetings discussed or started as well, and then try to get a proposal agreement signed up spring, summer timeframe. So we can kind of coordinate with Burlington Group and Kirk and Michael with the bridge. And I believe they'll probably be kind of getting final plans around June, July 2027. Does that sound
Right.
So
I'll speak to that in a second.
So yeah, we'll want to try to kind of coordinate and make sure we kind of have everything figured out, because for the DOT letting, they'll need to get things kind of buttoned up sooner than we will need to with just local funds. And then downtown stormwater study. So yeah, we had discussions with staff on that in December, so we'll just kind of get that report sent and then kind of give a brief overview of that as well. And if there's any questions, so that's all I have, unless there's any questions from anybody.
Can I ask about this, or is it something that's you have in front of you?
Yeah.
Oh, that, I obtained from the county treasurer, Jenny Ashton. It says there is some, property tax, offset for special assessments. The eligibility is you have to be 65 or older or totally disabled. And it's the total household income can't be more than 13,855. I did find too that there is also some property tax credits that are available for the elderly. That income guideline is a little bit better. I think it's 26,000 some. But I did want to find that out for this project.
So this would go to a lot of people on Anderson Street, correct?
Yeah, we do.
People on Anderson Street could apply for it if they met the income guidelines with
And then get this form here or courthouse?
at the treasurer's office. I have copies, so they can also get it from me, or but you can go over to the treasurer's office, and that's where you would need to file it too, if you were gonna apply for the credit.
Yeah. Thanks, yeah.
Thank you. That's great. Jason.
So to speak a little bit on the federal aid DOT portion of Marion Street Bridge that we're partnering with Kirk and Michael on. So that process, Anthony is going to be starting the concept statement, which is the initial paperwork that you start with the DOT that starts the process. It kind of kicks off the environmental reviews. So he wants to do it soon enough, but not too soon, where they try to force too early of a letting. So we're trying to make sure that this project is a 2028 construction. Ideally, we like to do bid lettings December, January, February, because it's generally the most competitive time of the year. So Anthony is going to be working on getting that submitted. Some of the environmental processes have been a little bit, slow. As we found out with the Grand Avenue Trail project, it's taking a little bit longer, so he's gonna try moving that up as much as he can and coordinating with DOT to kind of make sure we have a coordinated letting on the city's non-participating. And so in terms of DOT, they call it participating and non-participating. Participating means there's federal aid dollars associated with it, and there's a different set of rules
Okay.
for how those get allocated. As far as Davis-Bacon wages, different set of specs that have to be followed by, as opposed to the non-participating or the city-only project, which would be a separate project, separate letting. We're trying to get that demarcation in the sand so there can't, the crossover eliminates the questioning when you go through the audit process and everything with the state and trying to close out those projects.
Right.
So that's kind of where we're at there. The topo survey has been completed. I know Anthony and his team are working on the assessments and working on some preliminary concepts, and I think we've got some meetings scheduled with staff here coming into the first quarter of the year here. Regarding the Grand Avenue Trail Extension project, final plans are done, turned in to the DOT. We are on a March letting, which is a month later than we're hoping. That delay was a function of a final sign off on some environmentals that ended up being a week later than it needed to be. I had the plans, everything turned in for the February letting, but because that final sign off didn't come through from the DOT on the federal aid sign off, I think there was a little bit delay there because of the government shutdown. Things kind of got slowed down a little bit. That pushed us to March. That being said, it's still fairly early in the year. It's still going to be constructed this calendar year. It's already on the DOT's website as far as being out there, so contractors know it's coming. So we're hoping still to tag team, and we'll have a paving contractor in town for the Anderson Street improvement projects. This is like half a mile away that they could kind of dovetail in at different times, that there might be paving certain phases of Anderson Street. They can hop up there and work on paving the trail. We have put blackout dates in around the fair, obviously. So it's planned to be done this calendar year. Hopefully either before the fair or after the fair and prior to fire convention. So there's a lot of moving parts this year with what we've got going on in town, but we're coordinating that as we go. And obviously working with the fair board and letting them know exactly where things are at on the process there. So that's all I have unless there's other questions.
Thank you, Jason. All right, Randy. Would you like to come talk to us, Amy?
Oh, sure.
You can take Ben's place.
Okay, so I just basically wanted to let you guys know that we're gonna start disposing of some of the fire trucks. We have one extra one right now that we're not using, don't need. So we've got in the overall plan of attack for the next couple, 3 years, we kind of talked about that as far as replacing the pumper. Which is 176. We have 177 just kind of sitting in the station right now that we're not really using. So we can, depending on, we got that and the ladder truck, we decided to put that up for sale. While it still has some value, we're looking at options as far as some form of aerial type of rescue water delivery. We're gonna try a couple things and see how they work first before we get too crazy on that. But I just want to let you know that we're gonna start disposing of some equipment. And then whatever monies we get from that is gonna go just into our truck reserve fund for right now. Just to make it clear as to where the money's gonna go.
Which is, that money is held by the city and ours.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Great.
So,
Right. Thank you. Fantastic.
all right.
All right, Doug.
It's nice to be here.
Welcome.
I'm not sure what the future holds as far as you wanting somebody here all the time. If you do, if and when you need somebody here, it'll mostly be me, but not always. We've got 9 or 10 lawyers who practice a lot of public sector law. So depending upon your need, there may be other attorneys doing things that you may not see. We have one attorney who does a lot of what we call 657A action. I don't know if the city has done much of that. But under chapter 657A of the code is where you have a vacant or abandoned property. And you can take some steps to actually take title to get clean title, clean it up. We have one guy who he likes doing those, so we let him do them. Our associates tend to handle going to court, prosecutions and nuisances. However, I work from home, which is by Delhi
Mhm.
a lot. It doesn't make sense for you to pay an associate to drive up from Cedar Rapids to do that work, so I'll probably do that since I'm so close. And I'll handle the real estate stuff, except when I need somebody to help me keep up. But employment law, we have two lawyers who kind of work in that area, that you'll work with them on employment law and maybe bargaining and things of that nature. But we'll kind of take a team approach and tackle things as we can. But likely you'll see mostly me because of my proximity.
Right.
So.
Well, it's nice to see you in Manchester again.
Yeah. I was saying, we were talking about the park project, when I was pretty young, there was a big culvert down by that park that I'd crawl around in and look for frogs.
Mhm.
It's my great grandma lived just down the street.
Okay, yeah. Okay, all right. Well, does Laura have anything to say? I have nothing. Okay, okay. Here.
Just for your calendars, tentative dates for the city manager search. They've already gotten a couple of resumes, which is great news. But February 11th is the tentative date. That's a Wednesday where we would do Zoom interviews with, I think 6 to 8 candidates is kind of the initial, what they hope to have. And then we would select that evening, we would select, I think, 4 probably interview in person, and the tentative dates for that is February 27th and 28th. That's a Friday and a Saturday. So I just wanted to get that on your calendars. So that you have assistance from Tim Hines.
I talked to his mother-in-law yesterday, and she said he's
Sore.
he is very sore, yeah.
The hard part is keeping him quiet once he feels better.
Yeah, exactly.
That 4 weeks will get off long, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, so February 11th, and that'll be an all-day one, like.
No, that'll probably be evening, Zoom interviews.
Okay.
So.
Okay, then the 27th and 28th will be all day.
As I understand it, and I'll get with Marquita and get a little bit better kind of sample schedule from her.
Okay, sounds great. Because that's probably when we'll probably want to have some community people for all of that.
Yeah, there's, I think they do like we had done at
Like
the
we
Red
did
Basket with,
when we had.
the police chief.
Yep.
And then, I'll get some
Yeah.
clarification for her on that process, because I'm not 100%.
I think that's kind of what she shared with me when we were first talking about it, but, because I know probably very similar when we did the chief search, so, okay.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say too, I really appreciate Lynch Dallas, since they've come on board with us, I feel like I've talked to them more than I have to Jim Peters in a year. We've had just a lot of little things come up, so, but they've been very attentive, both Doug and Amy Reesner, who's the other attorney, and getting back with me and assisting through different things that I had questions on, so much appreciated, and it's been a nice smooth transition.
Wonderful, okay. Any other questions for Aaron? Okay, Brian?
Nope.
Okay, Diane? No. Marianne? Hi. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up and start, you want to, since
Okay.
not everybody's here, we can start next time. If you want to bring it up, you can
Let's
bring it
do
up.
Okay, Connie and I have talked about how there are so many great things happening in Manchester, and we sometimes ignore them because we deal with the problems, we don't deal with the good stuff. So we decided that we would like to deal with some of the good stuff. So I'm gonna tell you tonight something that I really appreciate about Manchester. And I hope that all the other council people could do the same, telling something. So the thing that I would like to bring up tonight is Christmas. I was so impressed by our downtown and the way it looked over Christmas. The decorations that we had in the windows, the lights that are on the poles. I love what they have done on South Franklin, over the street, in the gazebo at Tyrrell. There are just a lot of things that the city has done, and we really have to thank our firefighters for helping us put up and take down the decorations. And we have to thank our staff because they have been terrific in doing all of this. So I know that because we do things in the city, people do things to their homes then. And when they do, I think it shows how much they appreciate their homes, their neighborhoods, and their town. And so it was just a really fun season for me to just drive around town and look at what everybody had done. So thank you to everybody who did anything. And if you didn't do anything, I hope you took the time to drive around town and look because it was really fun. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we kind of want to make that a normal thing, that we say something positive about what's going on in town. It's too
Well,
easy
I
to.
would add to that, like the Jingle Break, that is just an amazing event that the county is doing fairgrounds and how much it's grown. And the other thing I love is, if you ever drive by Good Neighbor, all the trees are lit up. And so, yeah, there's a lot of participation by a lot of good entities here in town.
And their trees all came from Camp Courageous.
I know, isn't
That's
that wonderful?
amazing. That's awesome.
Diane, do you want to share what Manchester Vitality and now is doing with the ballpark?
Well,
We're still being talked about. but-
yeah, it's being talked, the project that Baum Park with the arches, that is a partnership between West Delaware, and Excel Trailers donating the steel, the master gardeners and what have you. They're committed to 3 at this point, then they're going to be, I just think that's a meandering trail there, so it'll be so pretty. And they'll have flowers that are self-watering, they'll be electric, and Manchester Vitality had a meeting, and we're considering possibly doing a few more. So we'll see. I love that project, so.
That'd be very great. I don't want to skip you, Brian, so anything you
Nope.
want to add about?
No, I'm good.
Okay, all right, Bill?
Couple of things real quick. Doug, welcome again to the city of Manchester. I'd like to welcome Diane also, your first meeting. Yeah, I screwed up on my first meeting. Till I just didn't make sure it was in the right place at the right time. Now it's a breeze. Being in retail, you guys can believe me for what it's worth, we've had a lot of people from out of town. And I'll tell you good things about Manchester. In fact, I just sold some folks that just moved here from Florida,
Oh, wow.
who had searched all over. They looked in Tennessee, Arkansas, they even looked in Nebraska. Fell in love with Manchester by coming to town, meeting some people at different spots. By the time they left and we had sold them some merchandise, I handed them one of the little county books that gives all the information, and she was just grateful to know what was happening in the county and what was going on. And she's like, I didn't realize. I'm like, oh yeah. I said, there's a ton of neat things that go on in Manchester that's just really makes it a great community, you know? The people from Florida, and I guess I should say the people from Applington, Iowa, over west of Waterloo that we're in, love the downtown lights over top of the businesses. They think that's just neater than needed. Looks great at night, it lights up. When the Christmas lights were up, it looked wonderful. So
Thank you.
we have a lot of, yeah, thank you.
And Diane was.
That was your baby.
That was my baby. I
You
love
drove
it.
a truck that put the lights up?
She talked to a lot of people.
I did. You got her done. It took a while.
It looks great.
I know.
And
I love
everybody
it.
really likes it. I mean, when I get customers in, it's amazing. And they're just like, wow, this is just a nice,
Yeah.
like I said, it's a nice, very nice little town. We have a little bit of everything for everybody. So, other than that, nope, that's all I got in here.
Okay. Well,
The chief is here to do all the.
yeah, I want to do him next. He's actually one of my people to talk to. I wasn't sure if you're going to come back when you walked out the door.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure one of my guys had help on the call.
Okay.
Only thing really that I have is just, again, I'm sure you guys saw the press release, more items are coming from that. Make sure we push out the January 22nd meeting. I have had a lot of people ask me if we're gonna record that. I'm opting out of that just because, again, I want it to be more of a natural discussion. We've had people ask us if they can bring children. We would recommend teenagers, somebody that can really absorb the information. We don't want to be traumatizing or scarring any young children either. The whole goal of this, again, this conversation is more so for the parents, right? We see a lot of agencies and organizations pushing this stuff in the school, which is great, but we're taking steps that we want the information to come from the schools, which is great, but we want the parents to understand as well to enforce it at home, right? We want to make sure that we're not policing children or trying to do that sort of thing. We want parents to have the information that we're having, what we're thinking, so they can reinforce it when we're not around.
And on the 22nd, it's at the
Five
library.
PM at the library.
5 PM at the library.
Yes, sir.
On the 22nd or the 27th?
22nd.
22nd.
Yes. And again, it'll be very interactive to what people want to ask, what they want to see, what we're, again, that's why we're opting, just, you don't want to be a cookie cutter presentation of, you know, what it is, because it is a fluid topic and we're still learning more every time that we get one of these cases. So, if you have questions or want information, please get with us and show up on the 22nd.
I guess my only question, Ben, you're getting a lot of people, my wife was actually asking about this. Will the library be big enough to hold? Or you're hoping not, that it's super big? I'm pointing to Aaron too.
So we had about 45 to 50 at the high school the first time we did it. I guess I don't really have hard numbers of what we're doing. My idea was just to get kind of more places in Manchester that we can dual, maybe people in the library that maybe necessarily aren't in the library. But if you're hearing more, I mean, maybe that's something we could look at. I don't know if changing the venue this late would be a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the fire station's always got some space. I mean, that room's big. I don't know. I just.
Or the theater, yeah.
Oh, yeah, or the theater.
I mean, I wouldn't be concerned with the meeting room being large enough if you are expecting a good sized crowd.
And we
If you
don't-
talk 40-some people, that's
That's
not
not very
gonna work,
big.
yeah.
That's not very big.
That's not
A
gonna
few
work.
people I talked to that went to it at the high school, they were shocked and said you guys did a great job of explaining everything, so I think that's gonna get a lot more people interested also.
I could talk to the officer, we look at the venue, I could talk to Allison too and see if maybe they can still sponsor it. I don't wanna leave them in direction.
Yeah, I agree, I think the library's a great idea.
Yeah.
I do, but I would
Great
be
about
concerned with
pushing it.
space if you get a large enough crowd. It's not
But
gonna
also,
work.
well, have people outside or hanging in the hallway, not be able to
Right.
hear either, so.
Exactly.
I don't know how many are gonna show up. You know,
I'm
we'll
sure
just- we can
that you would
show
never
this.
know, but
Yeah.
yeah, better be prepared.
Yeah, I would ask her how many she get whole, I mean, that's gonna. I guess if you can get up around 30, so. Man, but. I'm sure they could.
You could do 30
I
probably.
think so.
You could,
30
yeah,
would be
you could.
comfortable.
Get much bigger than it's gonna be tight.
Yeah, and we can look, maybe I'll throw another poll out on the social medias to see, who's planning on attending and get a harder number. That way, if we do have to change it, within the next week and a half, we have a better idea. Cause I just don't like changing venues too much, because then you got people that show up at the library and then like.
Right.
Yeah, closed because they didn't see anything and,
Okay.
so I'll work on that this week.
Yeah, good job.
Unless
Bill.
anybody got anything else.
No, good job though. Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Okay, Tag, I'll start with something positive. I am just so grateful to our city crews and everybody who, during all of our holidays or whatever, they're always out there taking care of the streets. They get called away for water main breaks and stuff like that. And when it was, 40 below, that one broke over here, just recently, I think that was not something anybody wanted to be out in. So we're very grateful to our city crew for that. We're very blessed with a really wonderful group of people. I have not put all of the committee stuff together yet. I thought maybe I would email that out to everybody. I know Joe's out ill tonight and I was gonna talk to you guys about it tonight, but I'll email that all out. If you guys have something that you want to serve on, which is easier for you, you guys can email me back and we'll have that on the next council meeting, if that's okay. We found out, all new or council members and anybody who's serving on boards and commissions, they have to go through open meeting law training. Thought it'd be nice for all of us to kind of maybe have a, refresher course on that. And I understand, Doug, you actually teach that, is that correct?
We do, yep. So it's about a 60 slide presentation, been approved by IPID for their training purposes. So that is something we could do. Two options. I did it for one of my cities. We had a city council meeting, then we just adjourned it after the meeting, or kind of went into recess and did it. Or we can do it at a separate time and you can invite other boards, planning and zoning, cemetery, park, whatever you'd like to do. Yep.
Yeah, and then the other thought that I had, I was talking to Laura about that when she told me, said that you would do that, is if we could have it also maybe Zoom. Does it count if they do it as a Zoom or not? Because if somebody's ill and they can't make it, they need to do that.
I don't know why it would not, so long as they could actively participate if they wanted to.
Okay,
You bet.
all right, so I just thought maybe that was an option then too.
So
You could,
if he does a slide on this, if we're doing it
you
here,
can share that though.
but I don't know if you can do the.
Yeah, you can
Zoom.
share Zoom slides, can't you?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, we do that. I do that when I'm on Zoom meetings.
Yeah, also IPIB has the online training options
I
too,
did
right?
mine,
Yep.
I did mine online.
Yep, there's a city, probably a 2-hour drive from me.
Yeah.
And I was on their meeting the other night and we talked about they need the training. And I said, you can go through the League, our IPID League of Cities, and you can do it for free.
Oh, okay.
And I was actually trying to get out of a 2-hour drive there. Anyway, their discussion was, they were like, we think it would be a benefit to get it together.
That's what I.
So we can hear the
yeah.
questions and the answers
I
in the
mean,
debate.
what do you
So-
guys think?
Oh,
Oh,
me
yeah.
too.
Okay, yeah,
So
okay.
next Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm
okay,
gonna be on the road.
okay, all right. So we'll come up with a date, maybe next Monday night when we meet, we'll come up with a date that we can get that out. We can send something out to the rest of the boards and commissions too. Maybe we'll pick a date and go from there. All right, and then there's a Chambers Awards meeting coming up on January 21st. I believe they do Business of the Year and all that other stuff. If anybody's interested in going to that, please let Aaron or Logan know.
We'll RSVP for you, so.
So, okay, you guys
For Marianne.
We're supposed to have an ETIA meeting that night. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go. We've got 2 of them that night, so.
Yeah, just let us know.
So, okay, and then, so next council meeting, we'll plan on doing our council picture then too, and so we can do that.
The regular meeting.
Yeah, the next,
Not the work session.
not the work session, yeah, we'll do it at the next council meeting, we'll do our next picture instead, so Joe hopefully will be
Good,
doing
I'll get
better.
your hair done by then.
There you go.
It's so much gray in it. It's incredible.
Okay, I'd like to thank everybody who joined us tonight, and with that, I'll take a motion from Brian, a second from Diane, that we adjourn, and we are adjourned. Have a good evening, everybody.
Now ask you what bitch should I ask Sam?
Yeah.
Yes, she. Yeah, I don't.
Oh,